Hail the tribe of the internet. I am Mortis and this is Dicentra. This episode, hopefully, we will be able to wrap up day 3 and 4, so the remaining 2 days. Also, very important information, today's tea is sweet peach flavored. I do not know how is it different from regular peach, but it is sweet peach. Oh yeah, and I believe this part there's gonna be a shorter little sequence like there was a short sequence at the end of the first chapter which was from the perspective of Dove, and I think this section is still connected to the end of the second day. Like this is Dove's tiny mini chapter, to say so, which I left off of the previous video because I was very tired. But here we are now. The morning air is cool against my face. My eyes close in appreciation, knowing it won't stick around as the day grows heavy with the midsummer heat. I shift awkwardly in the window seat as I watch the sky grow brighter. The wolf sleeps so soundly on the small blanket I had placed down for him. He would probably puff up if he knew he was sleeping with his belly exposed to me so comfortably. I feel my lips stretch into a small smile, then a frown. It was so quiet that I couldn't sleep. When it's quiet, I can hear every little sound in the house. Oh yeah, I know the feels. And that makes it easy for me to notice that something is missing. There is one less ghost to go bump in the night. Yes, I'm sorry, I can't even remember the name, but I know, yes. My ears are waiting for sounds that aren't there. My eyes are waiting for shapes that aren't there. Why is it that the ghost of a ghost has so much more presence? Something breaks me from my thoughts. I hear a slight cooing sound right next to me. I look down and a small brown bird sitting on the sill of my open window. My mouth parts. A mourning dove. Oh! 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 It softly calls to me and hops on weightless feet. I lean forward and slowly reach my fingers out towards it, wondering if its feathers are as soft as they look. It flies away before I can touch it. Oh! Jump out the window. If you want to leave the house, you can always jump out the window. I let out a soft gasp and the corners of my mouth fall once again. I pull my hand back and lean my head back against the wall. I let out a sigh as I watch the dove disappear into the sky. The sun has started to rise over the trees and its light hits the painted colors on my window. Yeah, I can see you painted them. Like everything about this place, I have it memorized. The same clouds, the same shades of blue and pink, the same rays of light that pierce through the leaves, the same shadows. A foolish part of me keeps thinking the day will come where I will finally get to see a sky I've never seen before. You can always jump out the window. Wood creaks. Only one person makes that sound. His day has begun. I search for a glimpse of the mourning dove again. Instead of wings that fly around freely, all I see is the sky as it begins to bleed red. The brightness of the sun is smothered, and as the moon devours it and takes its place like a celestial doppelganger. Out of the corner of my eye, the rainbow lights that dapple my room have vanished. I close my eyes and rummage through the depths of my thoughts for somewhere to hide. Will today be a good day or a bad day? I hear the wolf snore and look down at him. I said I would help distract you, but it's been you who has been distracting me. Also, just a minute, my cat, yes, cat interruption. Darling dearest, please. Okay, I'm here. Yes. Yes, and this is the third day, the moon. I had to put my cat down. He jumped on my table, but he can't fit because he's pet. The sun is gone. And it's me again, Puppy. I opened my eyes, blinking in confusion. I've completely forgotten what had woken me up in the first place. I distinctly remember falling asleep to glittering stars and darkness. So I'm surprised to see the moon still so high in the sky. And red, so much red. Scarlet bleeds to every corner of the sky. The lights from its atmosphere bounces off the floorboards of Dove's room, casting everything in an ominous glow. I thought we had gone to bed late. I must not have been sleeping long. I stare at the full moon outside. My heart is pumping like it knows something my brain doesn't. I must be on edge from lack of sleep, or because it's the full moon and you're a puppy wolf. But I don't feel tired. I feel like the moon's face is looking right at me, waiting with a patient grin. Like it can't wait to witness my reaction when I figure out the answer to the riddle it's given me. Howl, you should howl! I feel my fur grow stiff. I swallow. It's morning! But why on earth was the... I jump 6 feet into the air when someone bangs on the door to Dove's bedroom. Out of instinct, I rush under the desk beside Dove's desk. Yeah, because hiding under a desk had gone so well before. I remember it clearly now. It was that exact banging noise that pulled me from my sleep in the first place. Oh hi. Dove suddenly appears before me and clamps a hand around my muzzle. I start to squeal, but she throws a finger in front of her mouth to silence me. The banging continues. I hear someone rattle the locked doorknob. Dove, open the door! The witch, aka Daddy. Dove glances in the direction of the man calling for her. Just a moment, Father. Yes, Father. Dove's neutral answer is a stark contrast to my trembling form. Her gaze swings back to me, and before I know it, I'm being hauled off my feet. My immediate reaction is to crash in Dove's arms. Is she about to offer me up to the witch? I try to whimper through the iron grip around my snoot, but she squeezes tighter. Shh! I freeze in her arms. My eyes are wide and full... My eyes are wide, in full alert, and my chest expands rapidly from my frantic breathing. Dove offers no form of comfort. Instead, she spares me one last glance before she throws me into darkness. Okay, I land on plush blankets with a small bounce and a slight yelp. I see a small glimpse of Dove staring down at me before she closes the gap between the thick curtains of her canopied bed and extinguishes all of the light. Oh, it's like I've suddenly been thrown into a pit. Yeah, but it's a bed. My ears twitch at every subtle noise. The scent of wilting lilacs floods my senses. It's as if Dove sleeps with decaying flowers in her pillowcase every night. Maybe she's a witch. My heavy breathing sounds so loud in the darkness. I try to tame it as best as I can, in fear that it can be heard beyond the curtains that shroud me. I hear Dove's bare feet drag along the wooden floor, then a click, then a creak. Then heavy footsteps enter the room. My bones nearly jump out of my skin from the sound of lightning that breaks through the quiet. Wasn't it clear just a moment ago? I swallow hard. New noises start to appear out of nowhere. Wind howls outside, so loud it's like ghosts humming in unison right outside the window, crying to be let in. Dove's bed curtains begin to ripple, revealing silvers of red light. I can't find... Oh, Babel! Yes! 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 Anywhere! Yes! Yeah, that may have a reason, Daddy, but it has nothing to do with me. Pinky promise. My entire body tenses when footsteps land right in front of me. The curtains flicker again. Then all I can see is him. Oh, wait! Stop! Stop! Just a moment, please. Why did I have to hide the previous day? And why was it an instant death? If he if he just finds me the next morning? I assume I'm not going to die here, but why? Was he in a bad mood last night? And he's fresh and sparky now? What? My cat is back. My cat came back for much needed attention. Oh, game, why are you doing this with me? You wouldn't happen to know where they are, would you? Are you asking me? Dove's father stares down at her from the tip of his nose. His hands are crossed behind his back. Well, that's not true. Did you check the rooftop garden? Yes. The kitchen? Yes. Under the table, perhaps? Dove, enough of your games. The witch closes his eyes and rubs the bridge of his nose. Find that bloody ghost or I will find a replacement. A replacement? Excuse me? So he haven't found me? But then how can I see him? Is that a threat? Yes, father. When he opens his eyes again, I see his eyes catch on to something I can't see. The tension in the room suddenly rises. Oh, it's my food bowl or water bowl or my collar or something. Wait. The blanket on the floor. Oh, the blankie, my blankie. Fear begins to claw its way up my throat, threatening to spill out in a cry. The witch's eyes drag upwards to Dove, then to the walls. He begins to search around the room. Oh my god. I stop breathing. The sound of the storm becomes muffled for a moment, amplifying the sound of every creak and heartbeat inside the house. The noise in the darkness of Dove's bed makes me go completely still. It sounds like wood knocking together. And by the looks of it, I'm not the only one that's heard it. Hi, why are you blinking? I hate that you are blinking. No, stop it! Oh, the witch stares directly into the dark between the curtains. My urgency to stay hidden isn't shared, it seems. Red eyes peer right at me. Okay, so he did find me. Every beat of my heart feels like an eternity passing by. Then he looks away. I think it's fair to consider myself the biggest fool of all time, considering where I've landed myself, but I'm not foolish enough to let out a breath of relief just yet. Right, just one more thing. The witch reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small black pouch with dots of silver on it. I asked the sister to craft a small gift for you. Kitten, really? Stop it. Stop it. You can't do this. Cat interruption. All the way today. I see him place the pouch in Dove's tiny hand. Then I hear the clinking of delicate metal. Thank you. The witch nods, then turns and makes his way out, finally disappearing from my view. Now go find Babel for me. I have much to do. So, did he notice me? Dove's door slams closed. Whatever hides with me rattles again from the vibration of the door, and I take that as my cue to launch myself out from the canopy. I tumble out from the dark curtains and slam right into a pile of books, sending me into a dizzying heap on the floor. Once the ache in my body wanes, I shake my head to get my bearings back. Dove's room was already a mess, but now it looks like a hurricane has swept through it. Stacks of books have been shoved around and knocked over. The furniture has been pulled away from the walls and left askew. Loose sheets of paper cover huge sections of the floor, leaving little paths of clear floorboard left to walk. How on earth did I sleep while she made this mess? I finally look for Dove and find her standing by the window. Rain beats violently against the glass panes. The storm outside rages in full force, and the temperature in the manor has dropped significantly since yesterday. Dove holds something up close to her face that reflects the bright white of the lightning outside. A bracelet! Tiny charms hang from the tiny silver chain. A rose, a sun, a moon, and a heart. You remember the chapters, right? The first one was a rose, the second one was sun. This is the moon, and the last one gonna be the heart? Dove seems completely enamored by it in a way I've never seen before. Pretty! I stare, captured by the sight of her. Warmth colors her pale cheeks, and the new brightness softens her eyes. My heart tightens. I've forgotten, or maybe I keep refusing to acknowledge it because I've had to rely on her confidence so much. But Dove is just a child just like me. She's unsettling and abrasive, yet when I see her like this, or when I see her get excited over something, I want to look at her up close. Maybe to see whether I'm hallucinating or not. Or maybe, because Dove burns like a star. Her face glows a blinding light, and her hair is the dark expanse that cradles it. Before Dove, I've only ever known stars far from within my reach. Dove moves away from the window to the desk beside her bed. She sets the black pouch down, then places the bracelet on it like a display. She seems to like it a lot. Does she not want to wear it? Her attention has already moved on from it. However, now what to do? Dove twirls around and faces me with her hands on her hips. There is no bubble to find. I perk up and my ears stand up straight. But there are other ghosts to find. Once Dove gives the clear for us to move out of her room, the first thing I notice is how different the house has become once again. Like when I had first arrived, it's cold and threatening. All of Dove's efforts to make the mansion more homely seems to have been undone, as though it were nothing but an illusion spell. Dust cakes the floor, spiders crawl on webs in dark corners, and the windows cast red patches of light that do little to brighten its surroundings. I lead the way on cautious paws, vaguely remembering the way to the study. When we finally get there, I realize there is a problem. The study is now occupied. Ew! I peek through a crack in the door and the witch busies himself with grinding herbs in a mortar. To his side, I see a floating quill pen moving on its own, jotting down notes he mutters under his breath while he twists the pestle. Ew! I look under the desk he works at and spot the chest with the ghost remains peering out of the shadows. He didn't check for the remains, you think? He haven't noticed it yet? The day after Baba left, Dove had returned to the study to put the chest back in its place. Okay, but the pouch is not in it. I didn't anticipate sharing this with space with its owner so soon, so the thought of taking the chest didn't cross my mind. Dove hovers above me and takes a glimpse inside as well. Her expression turns green with shock. Wait, you are not thinking of getting the rest of the ghost's belongings, are you? I nod eagerly. Her eyes grow wide. Was bubble not enough? I blink. What's wrong now? My brows pinch together. I shake my head and hear Dove's breath hitch. I look back to the chest. We can't just stop at one. Okay, I'm starting to lose it. Like, why do we want to get rid of the ghosts? I mean, I understand, if I remember correctly, that Bubble was just, like an empty husk. It wasn't whoever was he, she, they, them originally. So we did Mercy kill them. But what about the others? Do the others also lose themselves? Out of the corner of my eye, I see Dove take a step back and twist my head to look at her again. Her hands clutch around the skirt of her nightgown. She looks at me, conflicted. Not knowing how else to convince her, I slowly walk towards her. Dove stiffens as I approach her. I pause right before her and she looks down at me in anticipation. I blink at her, then I brush my body against her legs. Dove gasps above me. I push against her and curl my tail around her ankles. I'm a cat. I told you, I'm a cat. Dove stands as still as a statue as I run my fur around her legs, causing her to stumble slightly from the force she didn't expect me to use. After I finish circling her, I look up at her with bright eyes in hopes that this time I can get her to put her faith in me. Dove peers down at me with a blush on her cheeks before closing her eyes and taking a deep breath. She then pushes past me and enters the study. Father, water is dripping from the ceiling of the library. What? Hells, did the books get wet? Hurried footsteps make their way to the door and I quickly scurry into the shadows to hide. The witch stomps out of the study with Dove hot on his heels. She casts a quick glance at where I sulk before they both disappear down the hall. I waste no time running into the study. Now it's my turn. How am I going to open it? I'm breathing hard when I make my way back into Dove's bedroom. The second I shut the door with my backbone, spit out the ghost's belongings from my mouth and wipe my tongue on the fur of my arm. Do we have such a big mouth? Like I thought. Okay, first of all, how did we open the chest? And why do we have such a big mouth? I look at the pouch, bundle of hair and bone on the floor. Oh gods, I hope that wasn't disrespectful. I'm sure it was. I twist my head to search around the room. Dove hasn't returned yet. Should I try to look for her? Or should I just burn these in one go? No, Dove should do the burning part. How would you burn them? A knot forms in the pit of my stomach at the thought. No, Dove needs to be the one that does it, yes. Feeling resolved, I pick up the artifacts with my teeth again and look around for somewhere to hide them. My eyes land on my quilt on the floor and I pad over to it. I dig my nose under a corner to flip it over, then gently place the objects flat on the ground before I flip the corner back over them. That's inconspicuous enough for now, I suppose? Hopefully, by now the witch has returned to his study and will remain there busy with whatever he was doing. So I can go find one of the ghosts. Why do I need one of the ghosts? I gravely underestimated how easy it would be to find the other ghosts. Baba, like the hallway ghosts, seemed to have some semblance of a pattern. But the rest? Well, considering how little I know about... how little I know about them, they are proving to be much more difficult to point down. I feel like I should have these nonsense hallways memorized by now, but I still find myself getting dizzy from walking through them in circles. I let out a huff in frustration as I quietly survey a hall from around the corner, only to find nothing once more. Stupid ghost! A voice yells from down the hall and my heart all but leaps out of my chest. You must really like the feeling of falling. Do I have to send you flying again for you to learn how stay out of my way? I don't recognize the voice, but the sound of dragging that followed it was awfully familiar. Grell? I quickly spin around and... Well now, who might you be? The air in my lungs feels like it's been punched out of me. Oh, who are you? A figure stands before me and looks down at me like a cat that enjoys playing with its food before it eats it. Dove has a sister/brother? His brother. His eyes are wide and his smug grin is feral. Does Dove has a brother? Yeah! Ooh, with the red eyes. You are a tiny witch. Because this boy looks just like her. The only difference is a smudge of dark markings around his blood-red eyes. It can be. There is another witch here. Yes. Oh, look at him. Pretty boy. Oh, you are blinking as well. Oh, you're blinking as well. Stop it. I hate it. Stop it. You're not like the other pets that she's tried to keep. Am I not? The boy circles around my petrified form like a predator. Down the hall, I catch sight of Grell disappearing around the corner. I let out an internal cry, seeing the opportunity to catch it slip away from me. The child steps in front of me once again, blocking the way. I'm not a fan of intruders. I'm not an intruder. I'm a pet. He glances behind me. But fortunately for you, she is of a different opinion. My ears perk up at the sound of feet slapping on wood. A white gown takes over my vision as Dove skids to a stop in front of me. Her white hair flutters like delicate feathers with the heavy breaths she takes. What are you doing? The boy grins and crosses his arms behind his back. Oh, nothing. I was just... The boy's eye cut to me hiding behind Dove's skirt. His gaze is sharp like a knife. saying hello. Dove's hands curl into fists. Just hello? The child chuckles. Well, it's far too early to say goodbye, isn't it? It seems we've lured in something quite interesting this time. I swallow. We? And the blood caps seem to be blooming well from the last one, so I have no need for this one. Excuse me? He narrows his eyes at me. Yet. I can see Dove go rigid. The boy bends at the waist to see me better, but she steps in front of me to block his view. My, so protective of your new little pet, aren't you? He leans back again and retreats a step. Yes, so if you remember, there was a dead wolf in the garden on the roof. So maybe that was feeding the bloodcaps, whatever they are. Very well, he's a special one, I suppose. Why is that? The glint in his eye makes me feel completely exposed. I can't wait to see how long this one lasts. Yeah, I don't like you anymore. Duff seems to take that as a sign to hightail it away from this boy as she sweeps me off the ground and crushes me against her chest. How tiny am I? Stay away from him. As Dove carries me away, I keep eye contact with the boy, who maintains a slight smirk and watches the distance grow between us. No need to tell me twice. Just before we round the corner, I see the boy suddenly stumble forward and break into a violent cough. Oh! Dove's pace falters for a moment, but she manages to speed up to get us away faster. Huh. Is she sick? Dove has not spoken another word to me since we ran away from the boy in the hallway. Logically, that makes sense. I'm not human after all. But it hasn't really stopped her from doing it anyways. I still have yet to wrap my mind over the encounter with someone new. Someone who is a witch. I think some of Dove's stress is rubbing off on me. Dove has always been the most composed between us, so to see her acting so antsy has me incredibly on edge. Anything that worries her worries me even more. Dove sits where I now expect her to be most of the time, on the floor. I guess it shouldn't be surprising that the little side table she had previously repaired has fallen apart once again. Oh, I'm sorry. Her solution to get it standing again is to slather it with thick globs of glue and wrap even more twine around it. This plan is not working as well as it did the first time. I can see Dove lose her patience with every new wrap around the broken wood with twine. I count every new impatient twirl Dove makes with the twine. 21, 22, 23. Oh! The twine ran out! Dove stares at the empty roll with a stunned expression. I feel anxious looking at her. Did she think it would go on forever? A shadow falls over her face. I brace myself. Dove shoots to her feet with the table in her hands and smashes it to pieces on the floor. Girl, come on. I understand you're stressed and all, but it's a table. Come on. I narrowly avoid the splinters of wood flying towards me. Dove stands up, panting and staring at the mess she's created. That stupid old... The broken leg of the side table hangs loosely in her hand, but not for long. Why must I always have to fix everything by myself? You know you don't have to fix it. You can just let it go, you know. You can just leave it as it is. Her fingers wrap around it tightly, then without warning she throws it with all her might at the wall covered in mirrors. I wince, and my ears flatten at the sound of glass shattering. And screeching... Those scents fly to her ears to smother the screams that come from the broken mirrors. She pinches her eyes together before opening them to throw a smoldering glare at the reflective shards. Quiet! I've never seen Dove lose her temper like this. Somehow I can almost completely ignore whatever on earth had created that screaming, which had quickly died down after Dove's scolding, in favor of watching her pace in circle into the floor. Pace a circle, yes. The more time I spend with Dove, the more she gifts me with a side of her I've never seen before. At this point, I could fill a room of portraits displaying all of her complexities. Dove terrifies me so much. But at some point, the fear I felt for her changed from the kind that makes me want to run for the hills, to the kind that makes me want to stay and see what happens. Oh my god. What do I do? What do I do? Dove gnaws on her thumbnails as she paces back and forth. A deep wrinkle forms between her brows by the time she finally slows to a halt. Dove stops chewing on her nail and looks down on me. My eyes widen when I see the face she wears. Oh, I don't want him to take you too. Yeah. I see tears line Dove's eyes and my heart sinks. She sniffles and wipes her face with the sleeve of her gown. The fear on her face disappears when she brings her arm back down. In its place is a fiery determination. Dove storms out of the room, leaving the dining room looking far more chaotic than when we had first arrived. Something about the sight makes my heart start to race. This whole time, I've been searching for any little crack in the wall that will lead to my freedom. Maybe I've been trying to break open the wrong thing. Dove makes her way to the supply closet in the hallway again. She yanks it open with both hands and hunches down to dig for something. Her eyes light up when she finally finds what she's looking for. I hear the sound of glass rattling. I brush against her side and look at what she's found. Dove takes out a jar with what appears to be glass beads and charms. I tilt my head curiously. She retrieves a couple more items from the closet before we make the journey back to her bedroom. The moment we reach Dove's room, she makes her way to the clearest spot to sit on the floor and faces her back to me. I startle when I feel a lump underneath my blanket as I settle into it. Alright, the ghosts. I was so close to getting to Grell, but I think navigating the halls will be much more perilous with that strange boy roaming around. I don't know what his relationship with Dove is, but it's clear they are related. They are siblings. And honestly, I can't say I'm itching to learn more about him. The witch and the boy, all I need to know is that I should stay clear whenever they are near. I look to see what Dove is doing. She seems to be completely immersed in whatever she is doing. My eyes roam around the room. I spot a random book that had been thrown open, probably when Dove had decided to redecorate. Pulling myself forward on my paws, I scoot up to it and trail over the words on the open pages. A book on toxic plants? A yawn forces my jaw open. I blink at the drawing on the page. Oh, I think I saw that flower on the rooftop garden? Which one was that? Done! My head snaps up. I fell asleep. The gentle tap of rain against the window is the first thing I notice as my senses come back to me from the fog of sleep. My head turns to look outside. Surrounded by grey storm clouds, the moon continues to hold watch over the manor from the exact same spot as earlier. Everything about this place feels like I'm stuck in a nightmare. Maybe I'm actually still at home right now, being carried to bed by my grandma, and this is all just a bad dream? No, I know better. In a world like this, it's harder to imagine days where you are not inconvenienced by monsters. A shuffling sound draws my eyes away from the window. I look over at Dove and watch as her back straightens. She stands and makes her way over to me, holding something in her hands. She kneels in front of me, looking nervously at her closed palms before opening them. The shadows from the storm clouds roll around the room like the reflections of waves on the ocean floor. Beams of moonlight break through and bounce off the objects that hangs from Dove's fingers. It's a necklace! Ew! Pretty necklace for the pitty puppy! Messily arranged on a red string with mismatched glass beads that hug a small leaf ornament made of a shiny silver metal. The brightness of it contests the small smile Dove bears as she presents it to me. Red adorns her pale cheeks and forehead, sticking out so darkly she almost looks feverish. She sucks in a deep breath. Another deep breath. I can't do magic yet. She lowers her head, avoiding my gaze. But this will help protect you. I stare at Dove, dumbfounded. My heart beats hard in my chest. Dove's fingers tremble around the necklace she had made for me. For me? Yes! Pretty necklace for the pretty puppy! But what about her? Who protects you, though? I glance behind her. Besides the lock on your door. My eyes start to burn as I look back at her. She finally meets my gaze, waiting for my response. Accept. Of course I accept it! The necklace looks so fragile. I wonder what was running through her head as she arranged every bead. Did she agonize over the colors? The shapes? If I've learned anything about Dove, it's that she seems to work hard at whatever she does, even if she's not that good at it. I studied the necklace, trying to imagine every decision she had made. Actually, now that I look at it, the charm she put on the necklace almost looks like a basil leaf! Oh, basil necklace for the basil puppy! Is that simply coincidence? I slowly rise from the floor and step closer to Dove. She watches me anxiously and grips the necklace with white knuckles. I hold her blue eyes in mine. Then I lower my head towards her. I hear Dove breath a sigh of relief. Oh! I close my eyes as she so carefully brings the necklace over my head and places it around my neck. Oh, look at it. Look at how pretty we are. I'm not that small, though. How can she, pick me up and run around with me? Somehow the weight of the necklace helps make me feel less vulnerable. Dove gives me a small smile and quickly pulls her hands back to her lap. The necklace holds no magic, but if Dove believes this can keep me safe, I want to believe her too. Oh, pretty puppy! A loud noise bolts me awake, and also I need a tea break. Someone's listening to music, or someone playing music. A quick glance at the window shows calamitous storm clouds that roar and light up with branches of lightning. Rain drums against the window violently and wind makes the frame tremble. I can barely tell what time it is anymore. Loud music disrupts my thoughts. The song playing is scratchy and reverberates through the walls. I'm surprised I don't tremble from how thunderous it is. My ears press flat and I reach my paws up to dampen the blaring noise further. Loud thumps and a voice accompany the music. I watch the door and consider double-checking to see if it's locked. For fuck's sake! My blood thunders in my ears. What on earth was going on? Laying so exposed on the floor makes my skin crawl. The air feels uncomfortably warm and damp. The heat makes everything in my vision shimmer like infernal illusions. I swallow and search for Dove in the dark. Abnormal as she is, I can't imagine anyone being able to sleep in these conditions. When my ears pick up the sound of tapping, I know my suspicions are correct. I find Dove kneeling at the foot of her bed. The sight of slightly open curtains behind her catches me off guard. It's heavily shadowed, but I think it looks like something is moving inside of the canopy. Yes, something was there with me. Fear pulls my gaze away. I focus on what Dove is doing. The clouds part just enough to let a streak of red into the bedroom. The sight behind Dove makes my heart rate jump. Rotting limbs and branches of hands manifest out of the shadows. Excuse me, lady. Not approaching, just lurking, and for some reason they are very vocal tonight. They are singing. The limbs, gurgling growls, strained groans, and the sound of grinding glass grow louder and louder, as if competing against the other noises that violate the quiet of the night. My paw taps around my blanket until it finds a small lump. They are all gathered here. My eyes flick to Dove and widen when I see what she fiddles with. In Dove's hands is a cross, or at least something crudely shaped to look like one. I'm unnerved by the sight of it. Dove tightly crosses together splintered wood with wires and string. She ties the wood together so tightly that chunks break off and litter the floor. It looks like one of the crosses in the graveyard outside. The only question is, who is it intended for? The sounds of the ghost have started to muffle the loud music. I notice Dove's stiff expression start to melt into something slightly more serene. My paw moves off to the lamp. Now is not a good time. My arms cross and I rest my head on them to watch Dove work. I don't think I will be able to go back to sleep. I can't tell how much time has passed. The light of the moon shining into Dove's room has become our daylight as much as our moonlight. Whether it is truly day or night, it's impossible for me to tell. A couple of candles light up the room. I suppose all there is left to do is convince our brains that it's the time to be awake. Dove sits at the window, completely focused on watching the trees like she is searching for something. She has the window opened, allowing a cool breeze to blow in. When she notices me watching her, she pulls the window closed and stands. Ready to start the day? No. But I can't sleep to get away from a nightmare. I have grown even more conscious of each second that passes ever since the witch and the boy have appeared. It feels like it's all counting down to something I cannot possibly predict. To waste time sitting around doing nothing feels like a death sentence. I stand, perked up and ready to go. She looks down at me. You won't get in the way today. My head tilts in confusion, but Dove offers no explanation and simply makes her way out of the room. I slowly trail after her. Which he? Yeah, there is two he. We failed to find any ghosts so far today. I had even looked for the big grandfather clock in the hallway to try to see what time it was, but its hands have stopped moving. I sulk on the kitchen floor while Dove sits nearby, half-heartedly trying to mend the mess I've made of the kitchen wall. Oh, yes. Her hands make slow and untrained brush strokes, attempting to mimic the designs of the wallpaper in the spaces where my clothes had torn through. I can see her mood drop with every shaky line and every uncontrolled bristle mark. She pulls her hand back to compare her clumsy floral paintings to the wallpapers, and her patience finally snaps. Dove throws the paintbrush onto the floor in resignation. Right as it meets the floor, I flinch. Dove doesn't. We both turn our heads towards the hallway. A coil of stress unravels in my gut. Is it the witch? The boy? Or is it a ghost? Dove doesn't take the time to weigh the odds like I do. Instead, she she shoots up and goes to investigate. I steady my breath, breathing, and chase after her. I almost gag at what we find on the floor of the hallway. Wind howls as it creeps in through a shattered window. The corpse of a crow lays in a mangled and bloody heap before us. The most ominous detail is its lack of a head. Dove crouches down and gives it a nudge with an unreadable expression. I mean, without a head, it's clearly dead, right? I guess we should clean it up. No, wait, how did this even get here? Is this a regular occurrence around here as well? I don't have time to piece together a logical answer because we hear another crash just down the hall. We leave the bird as it is and track down the new noise. The same sight greets us once again. Broken window, dead headless bird. Did we take a wrong turn and come back to the same hallway? I look up at Dove, searching for answers on her face. Her unreadable expression has started to crack, but it only reveals her own bewilderment. It sounds like every window in the house has just exploded, all the way down towards Dove's room. I follow Dove's hurried steps further into the mansion. Every new death crowd we pass instills new panic in me. We don't bother inspecting each one, they are all the same. Dove rushes past each broken window with quick glances and hisses every time she steps on a shard of glass. Girl, wear something. I understand you're inside, but wear something on your feet. The last crow we find is near the door to Dove's room. We are both breathing heavily as we finally take a moment to pause. The dead crow lays unmoving in a splattered pool of blood. The sight makes my body buzz with anxiety, which only feels heightened paired with a lack of sleep. I don't need to look for an explanation anymore. The signs of a bad omen could not be clearer. My legs hold me up unsteadily. Dove tries to catch her breath as she observes the bird, followed by the red sky beyond the now broken window. A frown tucks her mouth down, and I can see sweat drip down the side of her face. We both flinch at the sound of a slight tap coming from inside her room. The fur along my spine bristles. I slowly inch forward and Dove limps behind me. Oh, hi! You came for your remains? A ghost in Dove's room catches me by surprise. I hear Dove's breath hitch when she spots it by her window. It big taps against the glass. Then the window creaks open. Oh god, Dove didn't lock it earlier. I watch in horror as Grell's limbs start to crawl up the seat of the window. No! Dove bursts forward with her hands outstretched, but she stops just short of touching the ghost. Her hands tremble with hesitation. I can barely breathe. Grell twists its head as if to look at Dove one last time before it finally throws itself out the window. Will that solve anything? Shouldn't we burn your remains in order to, for you to move on? If you just throw yourself out of the window, does it solve anything? Dove breaks out of her daze and surges ahead again. But she's too late. Her fingers barely even reach the wispy strings that protrude from Grell's long arms as it disappears to the ground below. She stumbles hard onto the window seat, bruising her knees. Girl, don't fall out! The sickly sound of crunching bones and splattering flesh reaches our ears. Dove gasps sharply. My eyes are wide and I feel bile starts to rise from my stomach. I approach the window with my heart threatening to explode out of my chest. Dove lifts herself and peers out the window. Her body goes stiff with dread. I let out a shuddering breath, then join her on the bench. When I look down, my stomach clenches. Grell makes broken wheezes where it lays. Its limbs are twisted. They were twisted to begin with, honestly. And its carnage paints the grass from where its head had crashed against the hard earth. I stare, frozen with morbid curiosity, as its leg twitch in an effort to get up again. Can't die if you're already dead, but you can suffer. Dove stumbles back from the window, no longer able to digest the sight of Grell's state of agony. Her feet tangle in my blanket and she falls backwards onto her rear. She whimpers from the ache, then blinks watery eyes at something. My eyes follow her line of sight and... Oh. A small bone sits uncovered on the floor. The tag attached to it with Grell's name written on it quivers from the wind coming in through the window. I jump down from the window. Oh, Dove's face darkens, then she starts moving quickly. I press against the wall, trying to not get in the way as she paces around the room gathering things. She grabs a small vial from a drawer. My empty metal dishes, a lit candle, then finally Grell's bone. She kneels on the floor, shoving books and loose papers out of her way before setting down her materials. She throws the bone into the bowl and pours the liquid, which I'm assuming is some kind of oil, until it completely saturates it. I've only noticed now, but I think the bone might be one of the arm bones. And judging by its size and length, it does not belong to an adult. Oh! Dove grabs the candle and fixes her eyes on the bone before finally committing to the next step. Her jaw clenches. This whole time, you've only just wished to return home. How lucky you are to not belong here. Oh, Dove tips the candle into the dishes and the bone erupts in flames. Grell's groans of pain echo in the silence. The bone does not burn easily. Yeah, I can see Dove's lack of patience as her fingers curl into her palm. In the fire, I can see the small bone fracture and hear it pop from the heat. The white bone chars into gray, then black. Its texture flakes and sizzles. Dove decides she's waited long enough. Without hesitation, she slams the other metal bowl over the flame and smothers it. When she's confident the fire has been put out, she lifts the lid. Smoke billows from the bowl, causing Dove to wave her hands and cough. The smoke escapes out the window. She takes one look at the burned bone before she dumps the crumbling remains on the floor. Dove takes a deep breath. Then she starts mashing the bone with the flat bottom of the bowl. My throat tightens and my ears fall from the sound of Dove crushing the bone. She grips the bowl with both hands, raises her arms, then brings it down again and again. The loud clanging makes me cringe back. I hear something that resembles the ring of wind chimes, but Dove does not stop. I only watch in terror as Dove continues her beastly display. She only stops when her arms have finally turned numb and the ball slips out of her fingers. Wind moves the ashes on the floor in spiral. Dove pants heavily. Her eyes are completely dull. Silence fills the air. I hop onto the window seat. I know what I will see before I look down. Nothing. Not a trace of Grell remains. A soft gale brushes against my fur. I look up. The moon had seen it all. It glares down upon us, not in disgust, but in glee. Dove barely speaks the next day, but the witch once again disrupts the night with loud sounds from his photograph. Sometimes it sounds like he's conversing with someone. At first I thought I would hear the voice of the boy from the hallway responding to him, but it's someone completely else. I've started to notice the witch's pattern. Dove must be very familiar with it. Every morning, it's like she can read the signs that will tell her what the witch will be doing for the day. I wonder if the signs apply for the boy as well. On the next quiet day, we search the manor for the other two ghosts. Their remains stay hidden under the blanket. When they refuse to show themselves, we spend the rest of our day in the library, melting from the humidity that not even the ceaseless rain can dampen. Dove focuses at her desk, furiously scratching away on notes and drawings. I didn't notice the difference when Babel had left, but Grell's disappearance feels like it's widened the crack it had started. And Dove, she's been incredibly on edge since the witch returned. How long has it been since lightness was able to find its way onto her face? A gnawing feeling makes me wonder if I'm partly to blame. Dove pulls at her hair and blows out an irritated sigh. Her hands resentfully push away her work and she stands. I'm tired. I lift myself up, ready to follow her back to her room. Then I hear the sound of a book hitting the floor. I go still and slowly turn my head to see a book has landed right beside me. A pale hand picks it up and I startle, not noticing Dove had walked over. I watch as she lifts the book and shoves it back into place on the shelf. Her eyes flicker to something before she is once again moving away. My heart starts to beat anxiously. I take a peek in the same direction and my eye fixes onto the window at the back of the library. And the decayed foot that climbs the shelf behind me in the reflection of the glass. Ew! This time I hear a familiar drag when we step out into the hallway. It almost brings me comfort. I've learned there are people to be far more afraid of in this house. Hi, can we exercise you as well? The bright apparition of the hallway ghost sweeps towards us. Her presence is like confirmation that the day has turned to night, and I cling to that. I let out a yawn and move out of the ghost's way. Dove watches her pass with the eyes of a hawk. Is it your mother? Her neck twists as she follows the ghost movement until it fades into the shadows. Her gaze lingers where it disappears. When she finally turns back, she blinks in surprise. Oh, hi! I snap my head around and find Odette standing right in front of Dove. One of the ghost's shadowy hands rises to its cracked face. Its fingers fold in a gesture like it's telling Dove to be quiet. Then its arms shoot out towards Dove. Dove's screams ring down the hallway. My ears go completely limp as I balk at the sight of Dove getting dragged away. Let go! Tendrils of Phantomars wrap around Dove's torso. Why are you kidnapping her? Smoke rises from the touch between her and the ghost, forcing a loud shriek from Dove. I never suspected Odette to ever do something like this to Dove. I thought they would never do anything to hurt Dove, so why was he doing this? Dove's feet kick and try to find purchase on the floor, but they only slip out from under her. Stop it! The ghost continues to drag her down the hallway. I snap out of my shock and chase after Dove and the ghost. Bark, bark! I growl and bare my teeth at the ghost, but it makes no difference. How do I get it to let go? Panic starts to fill me. Try to bite the ghost. I try to pull Dove away. I don't think biting the ghost would do anything. My teeth latch onto Dove's skirt and I dig my clothes to the floorboards to anchor myself. It's no use though. Black tears drip down Dove's chin. Odette, stop! I hear the sound of searing flesh where Odette's hands hold her fiercely. Ew! My nails start to lose their grip and I'm pulled along with them. I trip and Dove's dress is released from my grip. No! What do I do? Only one solution comes to mind. Odette's remains. No! Am I going to pee on them? I turn tail and bolt down the hallway. Dove's cries carry down the corridor as if in chase of me. I skid around corners and make my way to Dove's room at full speed. It seems I've gotten quite good at walking on all fours. All fours, yes, because we are not quite like we are not really a wolf. I still think we're a fucking werewolf. I break into a stop. I look around the dark hallway, my breath coming out in shallow puffs. Am I hearing things? My body feels overly warm under my fur. Then I hear it again. I jump off the floor and spin around, my first hands prickled from fright. Suspended in the air is a crow, part of one at least, without a head. Unlike the crows from a couple of days ago, this one seems to be missing its body. Oh, it's only a head, okay. Part of its spine protrudes from where its rotting flesh has been torn from its torso. It floats high in the air, hidden in the shadows of the ceiling, and screeches like a siren. Odette! I whiz back from the shrill voice that the head creates. Suddenly, it's not the only one screaming bloody murder. Odette! Odette! I sprint away from the screams, but they follow me down the hallway. At every new step, I take more and more floating heads manifest from the shadows and pierce my ears with their cries. Is it Daddy Witch's surveillance system? My eyes are wide with panic and my skull rattles. Okay, so you think Daddy realized that we are killing the ghosts, or freeing the ghosts to say, and he's not happy about it, so he wants to punish Dove? The path before me distorts, twisting into a specially curated hell where all I can do is run without a shred of respite. The fur around my ears starts to feel damp. Warm liquid runs down the side of my face. I see some of it drip onto the floor. Blood! Oh my god, are we going to die again? I whimper as I continue to race towards Dove's room. When I finally reach it, I practically tumble into the room. I waste no time tossing the blanket on the floor aside. All that is left is the pouch with Odette's name and the lock of hair. I grab the pouch, take a deep breath, then return to the hallway. I follow the smell of wilting lilacs and burning parchment to find Dove again. The screeches of the crowheads in the hallway had muffled all other sounds and left my ears ringing. Dove's scent leads me to the kitchen. Right as Odette attempts to take Dove out through the door that is no longer there. Oh, I watch as Odette bumps into the wall where the kitchen door used to be. The one I had used to enter this nightmarish place all those days ago. Dove sobs weakly from the burns. When she sees me, her eyes grow watery again. Help! I immediately drop the pouch from my mouth and rush to Dove. My lips curl back, baring my teeth, and I jump off the ground and latch onto one of Odette's arms. My eyes sting from the pain that surges through me, but I do not let go. This is nothing compared to what you did to Dove. I clamp my jaws even tighter, then Odette starts to howl. Even when the ghost's arms untangle from Dove's body, I do not let go. The ghost thrashes its arm, trying to throw me off. It hurls my body against the wall, but I only hold on tighter. I whimper and growl in stubborn refusal. Aren't you supposed to care for Dove? You hurt her. I dig my teeth in further, now out of anger. Then I hear that sound. Oh, wind chimes! Have we heard it the first time with Babel? I fall onto the ground hard. My entire body aches. I gag and hack out a small amount of blood onto the floor. With blurry eyes, I look for Odette. She's completely gone. I search for Dove and my eyes squint at the sight of fire coming from the hearth. Beside it, Dove kneels limply against the wall, staring at her hands. Fingernails burn much easier than bones. I shiver. I guess it forgot. It didn't end well the first time it tried to take me away. Oh, she tried it before? I'm still trying to catch my breath when Dove rises. As she slowly drags herself out of the kitchen, I stumble after her as well. My whole body is tense as I watch Dove push into the study. I stay in the hallway, crushed against the wall to stay out of sight. Father? I hear a tired groan from someone just waking up. Oh, were you sleeping? Has the witch been asleep this entire time? What is... Well, those look nasty. Was it that old hag again? Foolish thing. Here, put this on the burns. Thank you. I can hear Dove start to shuffle out of the room. Oh yes, is your doggy still alive? So you knew! You saw me! You saw me! Then why? Tell me why. Tell me, because I don't understand. Why was the first time you saw me, you just instantly killed me? And then now you know I exist and it's fine, you know? Nobody seemed to care anymore. Could you please explain? My heart stops. How? He knows about me? Tension fills the air. It's so thick that it sticks to me like honey. I barely breathe. The sound of my heart thunders in my ears. Don't touch him. Dove's voice comes out hard. The witch laughs in response. Come now, darling. I'm sure you won't even remember this one after your mother returns. What? So the white lady is not her mother, and he tries... So were all the ghosts experiments? Because he wanted to bring her mother back? I hear stomping and draw back away from the sound. Dove bursts out of the study, eyes darting around until she finds me crouching in the dark with my tail between my legs. She bends down and gathers me into her arms, wincing from the burns all over her upper body, then quickly retreats back to her room. It's dead quiet back in Dove's room, save for the soft pitter-patter of rain against the window. Dove sits on the floor with a single candle sitting in a brass holder beside her. When she starts unbuttoning her nightgown, my eyes turn into saucer and I snap my head away from her. I try to distract myself by staring at anything else around the room, but I'm overly conscious of the sound of rustling clothing and Dove's quiet whimpers. I see pale skin from the corner of my eye, and bright red marks. Aww. I do a double take and suck in a breath at the damage Odette had done to Dove. Phantom burns cross along the expanse of her back, arms, and neck. I see her struggle to apply ointment to the burns on her back and stand up from the floor. But to do what exactly? Help her? My clothes curl into my blanket. I bow my head, then curl into a ball facing away from Dove. Every time I hear her sniffle and suck in a watery breath, I have to hold back my own whine. Aww. Poor puppy. The next time I wake up, it's to smoke. Something stale and acrid invades my nose and forces me out of my slumber. Then the feeling of cold, damp fur forces me away. My eyes snap open. Grey smoke curls into the room from the hallway. A fire? The offensive odor that fills the room is not from a house fire, however. It stings my eyes and I feel tiny shocks where tendrils trail towards me. I can feel rain hitting me. The blanket I lay on is soaked with water. I turn my attention towards the window. Then jump up to my feet. Strong gales of wind push into the room, carrying the heavy rainstorm in with it. Rain floods the floorboards, and ripples from every drop that cascades in from outside. Dove stands at the wide open window, holding onto the slick frames and breathing out in panicked pants. What up, girlie? Her nightgown is drenched and her pitch black hair clings to her face and back. Her body trembles and holds unsteadily against the strong wind that slams into her. She does not look afraid in the slightest. In fact, as she looks out at the thundering sky, her wide eyes and flushed cold cheeks make her look more alive than ever. She looks down at the ground. I wonder what Grell thought of when he fell. Yes? Did he have time to think of anything at all? I don't think he had thoughts at that point, like any. My heart races. Rain beats against my face and gets in my eyes. I wonder what his real name was. It wasn't Grell? And if someone out there is still looking for him, how long was he here? Was he not dead originally? Like, you brought him here, killed him, and brought the ghost back? She looks back up at the grey clouds. Babel kept taking care of the garden and filling the flower vases. Yes. It didn't know why it had to. Grell wanted to leave. It didn't know why it had to. Odette wanted to take me away from here. Dove lets out a bitter laugh. It didn't even know why. But you do know? She goes quiet. A frown appears on her face. Ziri? Who the fuck was Ziri? Her face goes blank. Now we are more free than I will ever be. Dove turns away from the window and starts to climb down. But why? Are we leaving? I watch in horror as her foot slips from the rain-slicked window sill. Save. Of course, save her. Why would I stand still? Come on. I howl and grab the back of Dove's dress before she can fall. I throw all of my weight back and Dove stumbles backwards into the room. She shrieks when she lands on the floor, right on her burns from the previous day. Sorry, but I really just saved your life, so you know. While a knocking startles me, Dove! I recoil sharply when the witch breaks down Dove's door and strides into the room. His steps make the floor quake. Hi, Daddy! The second he stops Dove crouching on the floor, he spots Dove crouching on the floor, he drops down to her level and pulls her into his arms. Oh. It's okay, I've got you. No, you don't, okay? I was the one who saved her. No, don't try to take it to yourself, okay? It was me. You are safe. You're fucking not. You're a terrible dad. The smell of smoke comes off of him so strongly I cringe back. The witch strokes Dove's hair and whispers soothing words to his daughter. It would be a warm display if not for the way Dove's entire body goes still. Her body does not move. I don't even see her breathing. Her eyes are completely hollow. The only move I see her make is her eyes flickering down to something on the floor. Her fingers twitch, then they start reaching for the candle holder beside them. Dread twists my gut. I watch with terror as Dove's fingers curl around the brass object. Don't try to hurt him! But before anything can happen, the witch scoops up his young daughter and the candle holder slips out of her hand. The witch stands and starts to carry her out. Let's clean those, shall we? Clean what? The wounds? After the two of them leave, I pad over to the windows and swing the doors closed to stop any more rain from coming in. How can you close the windows? I'm not sure we are a wolf. I can't lock it myself, so this will have to do. Then I look at the state of the bedroom door. The frame of the door and the locking mechanism hang in splinters. Oh, Daddy kicked it in? Well, at least something. The storm continues to roar outside. I stand alone in the garden, soaked to the bone. All around me is decay. Without Baba standing to keep everything alive, all the flowers and plants have started to wither. The only thing left standing still is the rose bush. Oh yeah, the bloody roses, yes. But even time is running out for it. Its petals have become a stark white. A snap makes my ear twitch. I watch silently as a rose head falls to the ground. It crumbles like ash when it hits the tiled floor. I turn away, then head back out into the kitchen. Into the rain. I don't remember how long I've been up here. I return inside the mansion. As I make my way back to Dove's room, I see her in front of the study door. The witch's shadow engulfs her. I stop at a distance, then watch as Dove presents something to her father. A cross! The one I had seen her working on. A new one? Dove nods. I hear the witch sigh. He studies the handmade cross. It's been getting quieter around here, don't you think? His question seems to catch Dove off guard. I observe the way her mouth parts slightly, but she doesn't say a word. Red eyes gaze down at her. He knows. He knows everything we've been doing. Well, obviously. The witch starts to turn away. Very well, off to bed with you now. Dove steps back and the door to the study closes. Then she slowly turns and heads down the hall. I start trotting after her to catch up when something catches my attention. I slow to a stop by the door of the study. My ears twist towards the sound coming from inside the room. It sounds like the clinking of a chain, just like what I had heard the first day I arrived. Dove's moon, okay, tiny chapter. Today is outside of his routine. It's supposed to be a quiet day. Why did he have to come in here? Show me what you've been working on. Oh, with the tiny mask. I swallow and ignore him. I hate it when he's like this. I try not to look at the wolf skull that emerges over his eyes. Yeah, I suppose that was one of your friends as well. He's been using more blood caps than usual. You're feeding whatever the blood caps are with the wolves? Why bother? It's always in vain. No good. I go stiff in my seat. No. None of these are any good. He slams his fist on the desk and I hide my flinch. I shouldn't have entertained any of your silly ideas. Those bloody roses were the last straw. His hands ball up my notes and crumple them. I feel my body grow hot. I clench my jaw. Just ignore him. Everything he says when he gets like this means nothing. I hear a new voice emerge. Oh, bother. Make all the little spells you want. You will never be a witch. Never. My lips start to wobble. His words keep repeating. I can't breathe. Don't you already have everything? Little beasts shouldn't get greedy. Give up already. My eyes sting. Anger swells inside me. You are such a coward. What was that? I clamped my mouth shut. Like father, like daughter. Leave. I just wanted to see your work. You saw. Very well. She must be walking around by now anyways. She? Who is she? Mother? He places a kiss on the top of my head and I go numb. You know I love you, right? I'm not sure. Yes. Finally, he slips out the door. Okay, what if at the end of the whole story it turns around like Dove is the crazy one and actually the father and his brother are the good guys, you know, like the sane ones in the family? And what if I'm actually not a wolf? I'm pretty sure I'm not a wolf. I sit in silence, my body stiff as try to listen for him through the walls. His footsteps echo down the hall, and I hear him speak. My love, there you are! It's Mother! My heart clenches. Immediately, I tear my focus back to myself and listen to the tap of the rain against the window instead. Then the white lady is the mother! I'm sure, because Daddy said she should be walking around by now. And we know the white lady only comes out at night? So she must be the mother, right? The ghost of the mother. I'm pretty sure, yes. Immediately, I tear my focus back to myself and listen to the tap of the rain against the window instead. I run my hands over my notes, trying to smooth out the wrinkles. The ink has smudged in several places. I look up at the ceiling and take deep breath. When Mother was around, she would tell me that I would become the strongest witch in the family. Well, because she loved you. She wanted me to become everything she couldn't be. Oh, because she wasn't a witch either? But Father, he wants me to be nothing. I stand, giving up on today's studying. It feels like it's gotten late. The wolf barely had any energy today. I don't think he's been sleeping well, and the humidity the past couple of days definitely hasn't helped. He spent the whole day flopped over on the floor, smelling like a wet dog. I step out into the hallway. I start on the path to my room. The moon casts a pale light through the windows in the hallway. A part of it shines on the paintings that line the walls. I pause for a moment. Beautifully done things. Father loves these paintings so much. I bring my hand up to the canvas, then drag my nails across it as hard as I can. Why do we hate Father so much? And the last chapter, Heart. We should save. Right? Yes, okay. I can't find Dove. We are the doggy again. I've gotten used to seeing Dove first thing in the morning every day. To not see her immediately after waking up dislodges a heavy weight in my throat that settles deeply in my stomach. Admitting that I need her around doesn't make me feel any better. The emptiness I feel makes me shoot to my feet, my eyes frantically flicking to every corner of the room in search of Dove. Something feels horribly wrong. My gaze, filled with panic, swings to the window. It sits closed and secured. Oh yeah, she didn't try to jump out again, yeah. I let out a brief sigh of relief, but the pressure in my chest does not lessen. The door clacks noisily against the frame, drawing my attention to it. It can no longer close properly after the damage the witch had done to it. My night was spent tossing and turning restlessly because of it. It wasn't the noise that troubled me, but the absence of security in what was once the closest thing to safety in this place. I steel myself, then slip out the door. I've searched every square inch of the mansion I could reach, every cobwebbed corner, every shadow under the tables, but still no trace of Dove. I sprint up and down the hall, not caring about the loud creaking under my steps. I mentally recall the past couple of days in my head. Today should be a quiet one, so I can afford to run around recklessly without fear. The longer time goes by without finding Dove, the more panic builds within me. A high-pitched whine escapes my throat. Where are you, Dove? Is she hurt? Why can't I find her anywhere? My trot down the hallway slows to a stop. My ears go limp and my wide eyes begin to burn as they drop to the dusty floor. Is Dove gone? Oh dear. Oh, the boy. I go still. Wandering around without your guardian angel, little pup? I twist my neck to look behind me. Hi. Oh, perhaps she's hiding after being punished. Was she punished? My blood runs cold. I spin around to fully face the boy, peeling back my lips to reveal the points of my teeth. Tea break happens. I spin around to fully face the boy, peeling back my lips to reveal the points of my teeth. Yes, we already read it. The boy's eyes widen, causing me to falter for a moment. His mouth stretches into a sinister grin. My body quickly tenses to prevent myself from recoiling at the sight. Oh, how cute! You must like her! I hold my breath as the boy begins to stalk towards me. He holds his hands behind his back. His menacing gaze feeling like toxic spiders crawling all over me. Oh. I catch a quick glance of something he holds. It looks like a white dress? Is it Dove's dress? That might be a first, I think. Dove's been misbehaving a lot lately. My guess is that it's all your fault. It's not, Pinky promise? I yelp and scurry away from the boy. He draws back and places a hand on his hip. A yawn pries open his jaws, and I crouch on the ground feeling like a string pulled so taut it's on the verge of snapping. He looks down at me with narrow eyes before throwing something onto me. I flinch in alarm when my vision is suddenly shrouded. Pass this to our dear little dove for me, won't you? I hastily untangle myself free from the fabric. When I look up, the boy's eyes are glued to the white dress. I fix the tear in it for her, though really I should just throw this out after the mess. Oh my god. The name I can't pronounce, Hypatia, made of it. My ears stand up. That name again. That. The boy sighs. Little Dove would throw a temper tantrum if I were to do that, however. Was it mother's? It was mommy's cloth? I look down at the simple white nightgown. My head tilts as I observe the crudely sewn patches that cover the gown. It's easy to spot the section that was fixed by a witch. It's flawlessly mended. I look up to the boy again. And he's gone. I drag my paws into the bedroom with Dove's dress between my teeth and drop it onto the floor. I still haven't found her. My eyes flicker over to the window again. Still closed and secure. I start to whine. Where are you, Dove? I pace around the room. My nails step lightly on the floor. I sniff loose sheets of paper and books, but the entire room is already filled with the overwhelming scent of old paper and floral decay. I suck in a deep breath, then let out a long howl in distress. Where? Hush! I perk up at the sound of Dove's raspy mumble. Why are you being so noisy? I instantly turn towards the direction of her voice. And I face her bed. My eyes grow to the size of a saucer's. Has she been in her bed this entire time? I leap for the curtains of the canopy, latching onto them with my teeth, and I yank them open. Dove hisses from the light that disturbs the darkness she lies in. I stand up on my haunches, desperate to make sure she is really there. My whole body chills. My clothes curl into the rumpled bed sheets at the foot of the bed. Oh, what did they do to you? Aww. Poor lady. Dove squints at me in confusion. Are these dolls? Are these dolls? Hanging from the ceiling of the canopy, a cluster of dolls swing. Yes, they are dolls. And stare. Ew. Why? Why? That's creepy. I can see the white bone of their little heads twitch and wobble as they look down upon me. Ew. Their beady black eyes are devoid of any soul, yet I feel a weight pressed down on me from their gaze. Their dresses are elaborate, but the exposed parts of their bodies are roughly whittled and splintered, tied together with twine that bleeds red. Chunks of hardened skin and scraps of stiff fur cling to the bones that make up the dolls. Animal bones, I thought so. Oh, are these all your previous puppies? The bones and fur and skin of the previous wolves? I swallow and breathe shallowly. This had to have been made by the witch. Between the dolls, I spot dried flowers tangled in the strings that suspend them. I suppose the smell of dead lilacs is more favorable than the smell of rotting flesh. Dove pushes herself onto her elbows, and I stiffen when I hear her wince. She shifts more into the light, her sleeves pulling back in the process. Crawling from the tips of her fingers all the way up to her shoulders are shallow cuts that crisscross all over the expanse of her skin. Yes, punished. That's what the boy said. Dove's face crunches in anger. Go away. Her voice comes out in a malicious hiss, yet I can see the way her shoulders shake, desperately trying to contain how she really feels. Oh, poor bebe. My brows pinch and I feel a prick of irritation sweep over me. I hate seeing her do this, seeing her try to bottle up how she truly feels. Why can't she just let it all out? Would it really be that disastrous if she did? If she opened the gates of her heart just a little, would it feel like the world is ending? I look up to the doors and stare into their observant eyes. They loom over Dove like wardens stationed in front of a beast's cage. I dig my claws into the sheets. I won't leave. She wants me to leave her alone, so No, I won't. Dove blobs back down and sucks in a sharp breath. She tucks her blanket up to her ears, and I take that as the sign that I should leave her alone. But I don't. Dove lets out a small gasp when I jump onto the bed. She snaps her head up to look at me, her rounded eyes focused on me as I settle down right beside her. I don't want to be a scaredy cat anymore. My heart thuds as I rest my head on the pillow beside Dove's. She glares at me. I told you to go away. Yes, but you don't mean it. She tries to sound cold, but the tremble in her bottom lip and the curve of her pinched brows contradict her mask. I move even closer until my warmth is shared with Dove. Her expression finally falls apart. Oh, looky! Oh, we are tiny. Look at how tiny we are. I thought we were bigger, but we're so tiny. Oh, we're so pretty. Why do I feel like we're going to die? I'm pretty sure we are going to die. I hold her glossy blue eyes in mine. That's not true. She's crying to the back of your head. Yeah, I don't know. If my hands were human, I would catch the tears in her eyes before they could fall. I can see her thoughts racing as though she is searching for her misplaced bravery. Where do you go, though? What do the farthest corners of your mind look like? If it's too dark in there, I can join you. Oh my god, we are the sweetest little puppy. Maybe stumbling through the shadows will be easier if there are two of us instead of just one. Dove brings one of her hands out from under her covers. I close my eyes. Dove's hands carefully finds the fur along my neck. I stay completely still, giving her time to grow her confidence. Her feathery touch grows more firm, exploratory. Her palm runs along my back. When she feels more sure of my trust in her, she curls into my side. Oh, I feel warm puffs of breath as she buries her face in the side of my neck. Bebes. Her fingers grip my fur almost painfully, but I do nothing to stop her. Her small frame quivers as a quiet stream of tears begin flowing down her cheek. They hurt. I thought so. Yeah, they look like they hurt. Yes. After crying, Dove falls asleep, still clutching onto me. The dolls above stare directly at us as I lay with her. I narrow my eyes as I watch them hang lifelessly. If they dare to disturb Dove's sleep, I will tear them down and reduce them to splinters, aggressive puppy. They remain silent. However, my ears begin to pick up a sound. It sounds like the buzzing of flies. Ew. Odette was Ziri's mother. Who the fuck is Ziri? I watch as Dove lights the final candle on the table. The flames flicker and devour each other until they form a single entity. Ziri was the one we met in this room? I stare at the grey smoke that rises to the ceiling with worry. Before he died, he would make me treats behind his mother's back and show me his sketchbooks. So you lived together in this house? Were they your servants? They were too good for a place like this. That's why they didn't last long. Alive, at least. With a flick of her wrist, Dove kills the flame of her last matchstick. The flames grow bigger and bigger. She takes a step back to admire her work. Every candle on the dining room table has been lit. This was Dove's idea, to lure out the last ghost on our list. The flames roar and grow taller by the second. She crouches down to pick something up from the floor before promptly getting back up. The object sits on the palm of her hand. She looks down at it, closes her hand, and takes a step towards the flames. Ooh! Oh, that's it? I tense at how close she moves to the fire. Hot air billows the pointed strands of her hair, and leaks of flames come close enough to singe the ends. Dove stares at the fire, mesmerized by the wisps of red, orange, and white. She lifts her hand like she means to caress one of the infernal curs. That's all it takes for it to appear. Ziri manifests out of the shadows behind Dove. Ooh, looky! Oh yeah, he was the hairy one. The very, very hairy one. Her hands freeze in place when she hears its cry. Quick as always. I cringe at the coldness that drips from her words. Dove pulls her hand back, then fiddles with the object in her hands. I never asked for your protection. I don't need it. I never did. Well, where were you when your mother tried to drag her out of the house through a non-existent door and burning her in the process if you are his so-called protector? May I ask you? Her mouth curls downwards. She whispers so quietly my ears twitch trying to catch her next words. I just wanted you to be my friend. Oh. She closes her hands together and a crease forms between her brows. Her eyes close. I'm sorry. You had to meet. Oh, I'm sorry you had to meet me. No, no. Her eyes open again. I can see her straining to not turn and look at the ghost one last time. Her lip starts to wobble and I see her swallow a lump in her throat. Your mother is waiting for you, Ziri. Oh my god. Dove brings the clutch of hair in her hands up to the flames. Ziri screams when it sees Dove approach the fire. It raises its long, thin arms just as the bundle of hair catches onto a flame. Out of all the others, this remains burned the easiest, yes. Spindly fingers brush against her back, sending Dove into a violent flinch. She takes in a sharp breath and unconsciously recoils away from the ghost's touch before the flaming bundle in her hand is thrown into the heart of the fire. Oh, Ziri lets out a screech when it sees Dove move too close to the fire. Then the chimes. Oh, I jump and Dove cries out. I watch as she stumbles back, clutching her hand in the process. Redness begins to form on the tips of her fingers. I yelp and rush to her side. You managed to burn yourself? The candle flames begin to burn out of control. Smoke fills the room and I can hear Dove choke on a cough. My heart thunders. Oh gods, how are we going to put this out? Open the windows, it's still raining, isn't it? Dove drops to her knees and covers her mouth and nose. The smoke grows thicker, making the room hard to see. I let out a whimper and grab Dove's sleeve. We have to get out of here. Dove fumbles forward and blinks away tears from the smoke. Soon after, I feel my own eyes burn. I try to stay low on the ground, but it's already become too hard to breathe. I wheeze for oxygen and try to drag Dove with me as I search for the way out of the room. Dove's body grows heavy. I can hear her rasp for air. Black dots start to creep into the corner of my vision. I can feel the strength in my body begin to deplete. Then I hear a series of snaps. Within seconds, the windows of the dining room burst open and all the smoke in the room is magically pushed out with the strongest of wind. Is that you, Daddy? Daddy? I squeeze my watery eyes shut and slide onto the floor from the strength of the gale. My nails leave scratch marks where they claw into the floorboards. When it stops blowing, I blink rapidly to return moisture to my eyes. Dove coughs and gags beside me on her hands and knees. I slowly try to lift myself off the floor. I go rigid at the sound of footsteps entering the dining room. Daddy? Yes, Daddy. Sorry, Daddy. We almost burned down the house, yes. The witch's eyes rake over the room from the melted candles to the scorch marks on the ceiling. Eventually, they land on me and Dove as we attempt to recover from the smoke on the floor. Why don't your head blink? If you blink, your head can blink. He crosses his arms and I see blood dripping down his arm from an activated magic circle. What a mess. Dove slowly stands up with her dress balled up in her hands. Clean this up. This room needs to look just as your mother left it when she comes back. Oh, now I see why you have to fix things. I tilt my head and look at Dove. Her brows twitch as her expression turns into disbelief. I can see her knuckles turn white. Her mouth opens and closes like she has something to say, but no words come out. The witch turns on his heel and starts to make his exit. On his way out, he takes a dark handkerchief out of his pocket and cleans the blood off his arm. She will finally be returning to us soon. Right before the witch steps through the threshold, he looks over his shoulder. Not to Dove, but to me. You need my blood? I'm so taken aback from the intensity of his stare that the fur along my spine puffs up. I only remember to breathe once again after he breaks off his stare. Take good care of your little friend, Dove, because we are going to sacrifice him. He swiftly turns on his heels and leaves the room. Neither of us move an inch until his footsteps disappear down the hall. I barely dodge the books that Dove blindly tosses behind her as she ravages the bookshelves. It's not possible! She chews on her thumbnail and shifts through a book before it joins the rest on the floor. Why? Why does it feel like he's telling the truth this time? I hear her let out an exasperated huff. She moves on from the bookshelves to her desk to ruffle through sheets of notes and journals. Nothing. Paper crunches between her fingers as she leans over the desk. I can see her shoulders trembling before sheets of paper are sent flying off the desk. He is lying. I cross my paws and lay my head on them. Dove drops down beside me and wraps her arms around her knees. I feel confused. What is it that has Dove so panicked? It is because of what the witch had told her. He said her mother would be returning soon. Was that not a good thing? I wonder where she's been this whole time. Dead. She was dead, obviously. The corners of my mouth... The corners of my mouth tucked down and my ears flattened. Dove still has both of her parents, but she doesn't seem happy about it. Because she don't have both of them. You're a silly puppy. If I still had mine, maybe I wouldn't have made the choice that led me to this moment. Maybe I would be less foolish. I turn my head away from Dove and make a small whine. Dove definitely isn't that close to her father, but maybe her relationship with her mother is better? As long as they are still around, it's not too late for them to grow better bonds, like it is for me. Bitterness spreads through me. What's wrong? My fur twitches at the feeling of light fingers brushing against them. They retreat quickly. Wolf? Dove's face pops up in front of me. What's wrong? I huff and turn my head away from her again. Oh, are we pouting? Dove scoffs and I ignore her. I then feel hands dig under my arms and pick me up from the floor. I narrow my eyes at Dove and she holds me up face to face. Why are you being so moody now? I look away and try to worm my way out of her grip. Her grip only tightens and the feeling unfurls a coil of discomfort that causes me to act out before I can even think about it. I throw weight forward and smash my head right into Dove's forehead. Why, don't headbutt her! Dove screams and throws her head back, letting me go so she can massage the redness forming on the center of her forehead. Mean puppy! I fall onto the floor and curl into a ball away from her, cradling my own head with my paws as I let out a small whimper. For a moment, the two of us lie curled up on the floor, writhing in twin agony. Aww. Ow! She shoots a glare at me. What is your problem? My eyes shut, ignoring her. Why are you being like this, puppy? I hear her sigh, then it goes quiet. Some time passes before I hear Dove start to shuffle around. Pages are leafed through and the books are tossed recklessly until Dove's whispers are all that fill the room. My eyes close and I get lost in my own thoughts. Do you like fireworks? My eyes pop open and my ears perk up. I look at Dove and tilt my head. She kneels next to me, clutching a book in her lap nervously. She glances at me, then looks down on her lap. I can make them for you. Inside? In the library? That's a very bad idea, but sure, let's go. I can feel my tail begin to sway and Dove's face lights up. I've never seen fireworks before. The study is thankfully empty when we enter it. I don't think it's a better place for a firework. It's maybe even worse. Dove crosses the floor, moving from shelf to shelf to gather materials. She places small vials of powders on the floor in front of me. Using certain types of metal is what determines the color of the firework. I follow her hand as she points to individual vials. Copper for blue, sodium for yellow, barium for green, strontium for red. She places her hand on her lap and observes the metals with a melancholic look. I've never actually made a firework on my own before. Father used to make them by hand when Mother was around. Every year on my birthday. Aww. My ears flop down at the frown Dove wears. She gathers the rest of the supplies and quickly starts to make small satchels with fuses trailing out of them. She casts furtive glances in my direction as she assembles them. When she is done, she wipes a smudge of explosive powder off her cheek. Yeah. The floor is a mess of materials, but Dove pays it no mind and stands. There is just one more thing we need. Fire. My head pops up and my tail begins to wag again. Dove notices my excitement and brightens in what almost seems like relief. She holds up a finger. We just need a tube to launch the fireworks out of. Yes, but still, inside? You want to do it inside because I think we can't leave? Or we are shooting them out on a window? Dove starts to search the study, pulling open drawers and yanking cabinet doors wide. Her cheeks puff out every time her search doesn't bear fruit. I poke my head out from under her arm to get a peek into the cabinets. She digs into boxes and pulls out bottles until she reaches the back of the cabinet. She strains her arm to feel out the farthest corner, as though what she is looking for is cloaked by a spell. Her efforts turn up nothing and she retracts her arm with a disappointed huff. Where does he keep them? She chews on her thumbnail in thought and does another lap around the room, double-checking every place she's looked. I wander around the room on my own. Perhaps my lower perspective will see something Dove doesn't. To my luck, I spot what looks like a paper tube at the bottom of a shelf, tucked away between worn books and jars. I make an excited yip and trot over to it. I waste no time gently grabbing the tube with my mouth. Then I notice the pale feet behind the shelf. I cry, risp out of my throat. I drop the tube and startle back from the shelf with my tail between my legs. Why is there a leg on the shelf? I hear the slap of Dove's feet make their way over to me. She looks at me in confusion. What's got you all worked up? I stare at the feet behind the shelf, holding my breath to see if they will suddenly start moving. My whole body is ragged with fear. That doesn't look like another ghost. Dove follows my line of sight, and I see her go still when she sees what's behind the shelf. It can't be. Her eyes are wide in disbelief. I jump and Dove suddenly shoots off to the side of the shelf. Help me move it. My jaw unhinges. Help her? As much as I would rather not, I make my way over and push against the shelf with my whole body. Books topple onto the floor and glass bottles rattle together as we slowly move the narrow shelf, inch by inch, until the dark curtain behind it is exposed to us. My heart pounds and my muscles ache. We both take a moment to process what we found. Who we found. I can see Dove's hands fidgeting in the corner of my vision. I swallow hard. Then I move forward towards the steel curtains. There is no smell of decay. Instead, there seems to be a light hint of something floral. It's surprisingly pleasant. I brace myself, then drag open the curtains with my teeth. Dove chokes on a gasp behind me and the floor creaks. I give her a quick glance and see that she's taken a step back. It's hard to understand the expression she wears. She seems to go through a string of them. Her face becomes painted with disbelief. For a wink of time, a spark of yearning lights up in her eyes. Then her expression slips into anguish. I turn back to the person behind the curtain. The woman. His mother! I told you! It's his mother ghost. I mean, it's not the ghost, but the body. Her skin is pure ivory, untouched by rigor mortis, but suspended just a breath away from its ruinous claws. Death's presence feels so close, like it paces back and forth, waiting to claim what's rightfully theirs. Mother? The gown she wears is a shiny white silk, buttoned all the way up to her chin, with red stitching that zigzags up her skirt in chaotic fashion. Something about the way the crimson threads loop up and down the skirt feels spiteful, impatient. My brows pinch together. I've seen stitching like that before. I'm telling you, it's the ghost. Also, what is the red thing? What is the red thing? Her light hair is chopped sharply, framing her jaw, and the panel behind her head looks like an explosion of colorful paint strokes. And what is this? What is this? Bold tendrils of gore and mycelium spread along the wood. Fungi of different shapes and sizes bloom around her head like a horrific halo. That seems healthy, yes? Oh, looky! It's the mama! So if your hair is white, how is that both of your child have black hair, like daddy? I don't think they are yours. She stands with her eyes closed in the hidden closet like a marionette. Her arms hang neatly at her sides. When I look for strings that hold her up, I disturbingly find none. I'm almost curious to see if she has a wind-up key behind her that would bring her to life. She's clearly dead, but she's preserved so well that I fall under the illusion that a nudge of her shoulder is all it would take to make her eyes flutter open. Unlike the others, her entire body has been kept. And unlike the others, there is no tag with her name on it. Yes! But it doesn't matter. I already know it. The name that I can't pronounce, Miss Age. How long has she been tucked away here, hidden like a rare gem in a jewelry box? I now understand why her remains were not found amongst the others. The tether that binds her here could only be this strong if her whole body was kept. Yes. She's been here this entire time and you didn't even know. My ears twitch at the sound of Dove's voice. I start blinking rapidly when Dove strides over to the side of the shelf again and starts pushing it back into place. She's covering her up again? Maybe she doesn't want the witch to know what we've discovered. I tilt my head. But are we just going to do nothing about her? My head thrums with conflicted feelings. Once the shelf is settled back into its original position, she picks up the paper tube I dropped and starts making her way over to the pile of sachets on the floor. Let's go. I give the shelf one last glance, then trail after Dove. Oh yes, the roof! I forgot we have a roof. Yes, but it's still raining. We both stare at the rain that falls through the hatch of the roof. Each drop of water clangs against the iron stairs. My ears fall flat on my head. Can we still light fireworks in the rain? The face Dove makes as she guards the fireworks gives me my answer. I softly whimper. Dove gives me a sympathetic look, then looks up to the opened hatch in contemplation. She chews on her lip, deep in thought. Her face lights up shortly after. We just need to make sure the fuse doesn't get wet. Okay? How can we do that when it's raining? My brows raise when Dove starts to bound down the stairs and I quickly chase after her. This is a terrible idea. We have to stuff the shell in nice and tight or it will misfire. We are going to get ourselves killed. Yes, there is a possibility. It hasn't even been that long since we set the dining room on fire. Yes, we did that as well, and we couldn't open the freaking windows, but yes. My tail swishes anxiously as I watch Dove aim the paper tube towards her open bedroom window. I called it. We are going to fire this out of our window. What the hell? It's fine. She angles the tube just shy of where the rain hits her floor. When she is satisfied with the aim, she looks at me with an excited grin. Are you ready? Yes. I shake my head furiously. No! This is crazier than lighting up a table's worth of candles all at once. Maybe. My loud thoughts came out as nothing more than a whine. Oh, don't worry so much. She holds a lit candle up to the fuse and my fur stands up on end. I swallow as the fuse begins to burn. Just sit back and watch. I count each second that passes as the fuse burns away until it disappears into the tube. Dove tightens her arms around the tube and braces herself. I suck in a breath, then... Oh, we won't actually see the firework? Oh, light explodes in bursts of color against the bleeding canvas. Oh, it's pretty! The room lights up in flashes and the sound from the explosions rattles my bones. The sight takes all the breath out from my lungs. My heart thunders against my ribs and I start to feel weightless. We won't be punished for this? It's overwhelming, intense, frightening, and exhilarating. It's amazing. It is. I race to the window and stand with my front paws on the window seat to get a closer look at the fireworks. Oh, are you not afraid now, puppy? The rain pelts against my fur and gets in my eyes, but I barely pay it any mind. Is this how Dove felt? In that moment where she stood facing the tempestuous storm head-on? My tail swings madly with excitement. Emotions of awe and wonder rush through me. I try to memorize the moment. The sound of the wind being drowned out by the fireworks. How the rain makes my nose feel frozen. The way the light looks when the fireworks explode. And Dove, oh, puppy. I crane my head to look back at her after the fireworks are done. She stands, staring at the sky, lost deep in thought. I feel uneasy over the conflict reflected on her face. Dove grips her dress, and I notice the messy patchwork of stitches that holds the thin fabric together. She inhales deeply. I let out a yip when she suddenly bolts out of the room. Are we going back to Mother? I rush into the study just as Dove finishes shoving the tall bookshelf to the side again. She breathes heavily as she yanks open the curtains that hide the body behind them. Okay. My eyes bug out of my head when I see what she does next. Dove grabs handful of the corpse's bodies, then rips it open. Buttons pop and fly. Dove's jaw is clenched tightly as she takes in the colorless flesh beneath the clothes. Oh, is it the body stitched together? A freezing chill crawls beneath my skin as I observe the neat, thick stitches trailing up the corpse's torso all the way to her throat. Yes, it is. Dove takes a deep breath in before digging her fingers into the seam between the sewn-up skin. Excuse me? The toad threads begin to snap as she roughly tears it open. Are you trying to climb in? What are you doing? My most recent meal threatens to escape when Dove reveals the organs beneath the corpse's flesh. Dove, what the... Dead organs never look bright, especially with a color like hers. I would question if this woman were truly dead if it wasn't for the stillness of her insides. Perhaps she isn't even a real corpse, merely a disturbing replica of one? Ew, ribs! Not a perfect one, however, considering the 3 random ribs she seems to be missing. I don't think those are random ribs. Damn it! So, what up? I startle when Dove curses abruptly. She takes a step away from the corpse and begins to pace in a small circle. All this effort to keep her here. She throws the woman a look of pure scorn. Why do you get all this time? Her lip wobbles. When I'm still here. Oh, yes. My heart sinks when I see Dove's clenched fists tremble. I look at the corpse in confusion. Just who is she to Dove? Her mother! Puppy! Get yourself together! Dove's face hardens. She looks down at me. Help me find her ribs. I blink at her demand. You wanted to put all the ghosts to rest, didn't you? Dove takes a step towards me and I take a step back. You wanted to end their suffering, right? Isn't it unfair for them to be stuck here? My ears spin back. We must get rid of her. She straightens and glares at the corpse. Dove steers her gaze from the corpse and begins to leave. I hear her murmur something to herself. Before she comes back. Dove moves through the mansion like a hurricane. She empties drawers on the floor and throws books off shelves. I don't think her ribs are hidden like in the mansion. Like your father has his own room, right? I keep my distance and quietly do my own searching. This feels much different than when we released the other ghosts. A sinking feeling chews away at me. Suddenly I feel regret for what I've started. I wonder if this is the right thing to do. It's like Dove's vision has narrowed to the point where she can't see anything but this impulsive need to be rid of the hallway ghost. I look down at the dusty floor. Get rid of... When this ghost is gone, I wonder if Dove will like what its absence looks like. Where are they? Dove sweeps everything off the top of a dresser with a curse. Yeah, but I mean... In an instant, everything clatters onto the floor. Dove whips around and bangs her fists on the dining room table. Candles fall and tremble from the small quake she creates. She releases a frustrated sigh and freezes. So are you... Oh, I'm sorry. Are you angry with your dad spending so much time trying to bring your mother back because she doesn't care about you? I mean, I get it. I get it, but still, you know, she's his wife. Probably she loves... I mean, he... What? Yes. Probably he loves her. Yes. Sentences. My ears stand. I try to strain my neck to see what has captured Dove's attention, but I can't see the top of the dining room table. Dove climbs on top of the table. We just set that on fire! My heart begins to thump with anticipation. She crawls to the middle of the table, showing melted candles out of her way. The wood groans under her weight like she had disturbed its sleep. Her hand slowly reaches out to pick up a single candle before climbing back down onto the floor. Waiting to see what she's found fills me with anxiety. I make my way over to her and she lowers down to kneel on the floor. Something sticks out of the melted candle she cradles in her hands. I recognize the texture of it, a bone. Did your father hid your mother's bones in candles. Like, why? Why? That seems like a very bad hiding place. Candles burn down and reveal the bone eventually. Dove digs her nails into the wax, trying to claw her way to the bone. She then presses the candle into the floor with all of her weight, pushing down on it until the hard wax crumbles. Also, you destroy the ghost or exile the ghost by burning their remains. So hiding the remain in a candle that burns is a very bad idea. The rib is finally freed, but she does not look as victorious as I thought she would. Because it's just one, we need 2 more, right? A line forms between her brows. I had a feeling. My head flops to the side and I look at Dove. Her gaze meets mine. It's like they are filling up the space for her until she gets back. What? They are filling up the space for her until she gets back. The other ghosts? I feel my heart pause for a moment. My wide eyes drop down to the rib. Oh. Dove rises and I copy the movement without thinking. I feel numb. I know where to look next. I nod, but my mind feels miles away from my body. A faint buzzing makes my ears twitch. I twist my head towards it. Buzzing flies whip around the candles on the dining room table. You spent a lot of time in here, but not to study like Father and I. Dove speaks to herself as she walks past a shelf of books, slowly running a hand along their spines. Well, maybe she isn't quite speaking to herself, but she's most definitely not speaking to me. I see Dove open and close her mouth. It seems as though her mind is overflowing with words to say, but she sees no point in speaking when the person her words are for isn't around. Her sharp eyes look through the shelves. I follow behind her until we end up in a dark corner. Section by section, the candlelight illuminates each book spine. A large mirror on the wall briefly shakes Dove, but she continues her search nonetheless. In the dim light, I make out what looks like a pile of blankets and pillows on the floor below the mirror, as well as an old oil lantern covered in sticky cobwebs. Everything as your mother left it, I guess? The sound of a fallen book brings us both to a stiff halt. I crane my neck up as my feet move back from the shelf where the book had come from. Another book suddenly tumbles off the shelf. I barely dodge it. I can only watch as the shelves begin to bend from the weight of something climbing up and down along the books. Creaking wood screeches in my ear as more books fumble down. Dove and I both track the movement in dead silence, our senses as heightened as the bookshelves. You are blinking as well. Were you blinking before and I just didn't realize? In an instant, we bring our eyes to a particular book. I squint, trying to make out more details of the book. Stop it! Stop it! I hate it. The book sits oddly, squeezed between 2 others on the very top shelf. Despite being so high, the spine appears extremely worn, like it's been plucked to be read over and over again. The library ceiling is incredibly tall. The top of the bookshelf is practically in the heavens. My body tenses in anticipation, hoping this mysterious library resident does us a favor and knocks it down onto the floor. But it remains tightly lodged. I make a small noise to get Dove's attention and point my nose at it. She seems to have already noticed it. The corners of her mouth are weighed down as she sets the candle on the floor, moving toward the shelf with unhurried steps. My chest pounds as I watch the shelves, searching for movement. Nothing. I share a nervous glance with Dove before she sucks in a deep breath and starts climbing the shelf. My nerves are lit with fear, keeping my eyes wide open in vigilance. I start to relax a little once Dove reaches the halfway point. Her shoulders tremble from exertion and her breath come out in shaky puffs. She stops to take a quick rest before swinging her gaze down with scrunched brows. Just halfway up the shelf must be high enough for the floor beneath to feel as steady as sand. She retracts her eyes quickly from the sight, ready to keep going. She lifts her hand to move further up, but not before the sound of wood groaning begins to echo not far from where she clings to with all her might. I go cold. Dove gasps and her hands slip. I yip in alarm and dig my nails into the floor as Dove struggles to find a steady grip again, her feet dangling loosely in the air. My tail swishes in distress and my mind races. It falls to a single thought. The blankets! I race towards the bundle of blankets I had seen earlier, gathering a mouthful of quilt before looking up at the shelf again. The mirror on the wall directly faces the shelf Dove is clinging to. She finally secures her footing once again, but not soon enough. Immediately, a headless creature reaches the shelf she had just dangled over. Why nothing has a head? Ooh! Okay, why don't you use the leather? You have a leather, I saw it. A shudder crawls up my spine as I finally see the thing in full. Its arms are long in proportion, resembling the limbs of a gangly spider. Its skin saturated in decayed darkness with a sickly sheen. A coiled stump sits in place of its neck, as though the creature's head had been twisted off. I watch as it weightlessly crawls along the shelves. Why nothing has a head? Also, is it a male body? And it's naked. Does it have a penis? And it flops it around. Oh, I realize a string of panicked barks, causing Dove to twist her neck around right towards the mirror. Dove goes completely wide and shoots up the shelf in a rush. I drop the quilt from my mouth and circle the floor frantically. My eyes dart between Dove climbing in a rush to her reflection, the monster still hot on her heels. I see her arms shake and her I see her arms shake and hear her nails rake across the wood. Okay, I need another tea break. The old shelves creak and curve under Dove's feet. I feel myself lurch to the side. When the entire bookshelf starts to lean forward, oh my god, as the books continue to fall forward, I start to worry that the bookshelf will give in to gravity before Dove does. As she continues to climb, she faces the challenge of ducking her head to avoid falling texts, throwing a few out of her way for better purchase. At this point, if she were to fall, broken legs might be the least of her problems. The closer she gets to the top shelf, the faster the creature continues to pursue her. Oily hands narrowly miss her feet, permeating every book with a glossy slime. I wince at the mere thought of literary pages coated in cold ghostly fluids, muddling the ink and smearing every word into non-existence. The creature growls frustrated in its chase and begins to slam its fist onto shelves, shattering them into crunchy wet splinters. Ew. It violently rocks its entire body, making the bookshelf rumble unsteadily. Dove lets out a squeal and almost loses her grip. She's forced to throw her arms onto a shelf just before reaching the very top. You're so close! The creature leaps off of falling shelves and bounds right for Dove. I hear her make a strained noise. She stretches her arms up in desperation, reaching for the strange book. The entire bookshelf shakes violently again. I watch the mirror's reflection with my breathing held in suspension. Dove's trembling fingers stretch for the book's spine, while a slimy hand closes around her ankle. Her fingers brush against the book before the creature yanks Dove back, and she slips away. I howl in surprise and prepare to throw myself under her. I see Dove dangling upside down in the air with a befuddled expression on her face. My jaw drops. Dove swings in the creature's grip as it what? languidly reaches up and tugs at the book Dove previously tried to grab. The book slides out with the pull of a murky finger and slams onto the floor right in front of me. Dove wears a dazed expression as she's carried down the shelf before being unceremoniously dropped into a heap. You see, the ladder is there. There is the ladder. You could have used that. Slowly, she picks herself up off the ground and quickly puts herself together. We turn to the mirror to see the creature disappear to some other part of the library. Oh, so he is the librarian? Blinking, she dusts off her dress, then makes a repulsed expression as she carefully picks up the fallen book, touching only the parts not coated in a shiny fluid without another word. The old pages conform around something shoved in the middle of the book. Dove opens it. There lies another rib, tucked between words like a bookmark. For a moment, I watched Dove's eyes flicker back and forth, reading the words on the page. I still don't know if I believe in soulmates, but if they existed, I think the universe would send signs. Signs like the ones they already sent to us. Aww. Dove's mouth forms a hard line before she takes the rib out and snaps the book closed. Oh, but that was sweet. A romance novel. I blink. That's it. She shelves the book once more without another word. One more. I begin to follow Dove out, but I soon stop dead in my tracks. There it is again, the sound of buzzing. But this time, its presence is much more looming. I snap my head back and fly scroll over the books, far more than there was in the dining room. My heart starts to beat hard in my chest. I feel like I'm tracing the footsteps of someone I've never met before. We walk in and out of rooms, searching for the last rib. Dove bites on her thumbnails as she searches through dressers and drawers, all of which have a lingering presence attached to them. It relieves and unnerves me that we have not seen the boy or the witch today, despite all the commotion we've been causing, but I try to count it as a small blessing instead of an omen. I pad slowly through the hall as Dove stomps through it. We pass the door as rooms that have already been ravaged, all except for one, but Dove passes by it completely. Curiously, I pause in front of it. Is she not going to search this one? Dove turns back when she no longer hears the click of my nails behind her. Her eyes catch on to the door I've stopped in front of. That's nothing but a bathroom. Bathroom? I give Dove a small waft. It's nothing special. Dove's brow furrow. But she went through quite a fuss to have it made, just for the drain in her pretty tub to stop working. Dove sweeps past me and bursts through the door. Oh! Oh my god! Oh my god! Is that blood? Is the tub filled with blood? Excuse me? The sound of dripping water echoes in the smaller room. That is not water. Dove's feet make a wet slapping sound on the red tiles. When she steps further into the bathroom, the red sticks to her feet, revealing the pristine white tiles beneath. I hesitate to follow Dove in because I finally spot the source of the ruby liquid that stains the floor. The tang of metal fills the air and blood drips over the edge of a porcelain tub that sits under a tall window. I told you it's blood. I take a deep breath in and carefully step past the doorway. The ground is slick and the air is moist. I concentrate on every step I take so I don't fall flat on my face. Dove stands before the tub. When I finally reach her side, I carefully lift my front paws up on the edge of the tub and peer into it. Why would you do that, puppy? I can see my face clearly in the still surface of the crimson pool that fills the tub to the brim. It just became like this one day. And Dove's face is strained. It looks like she would rather choke on her words than say them out loud. I didn't want to know what would happen if I tried to put my hand in it. Well, I understand the feeling. Why I wouldn't want to put my hand in it either. Is it full of your mother's blood? Dove inhales deeply in preparation, then pulls up the sleeve of her dress to her shoulder. I throw a nervous glance at the cuts across her skin that are still freshly scabbed over. Yeah, you really shouldn't do that. Don't do this. Pray nothing in here likes the taste of flesh. Dove lets out a small gasp and she dips only her fingers into the blood. She rips her hand away instinctively and breathes shallowly. It's warm. Ew. A shiver crawls up my spine. The stickiness under my paws begins to make me uncomfortable. Only now? Dove presses her eyes shut for a second and dips her arm back in. Why? I can see goosebumps rise on Dove's arm before it sinks into the red. Phew, she goes slow until she reaches the bottom of the tub. Her arm shifts as she searches for the drain. The sleeve of her dress slips off her shoulder and falls into the blood. Red bleeds into the white fabric. I hear Dove's breath hitch when she finds something. My whole body is wound up tight. The tension in the air is thick enough to cut with a knife. The sound of the dripping faucet haunts me. Immediately, something at the end of the tub makes my eyes snap to it. I let out a loud cry. Dove jumps and looks at me before she whips her neck around to the small sound of bubbling. We both watch in horror as something beneath the surface of the blood begins to breathe into life. The bubbles begin to crawl towards Dove, pulling a shriek from my throat. Dove grits her teeth and plunges her arm deeper into the pool of scarlet. Sweat runs down her pale skin as she concentrates intensely on unlodging whatever was blocking the drain. I whimper as I watch the bubbling move closer and closer. Dove releases a shaky breath, but she still doesn't pull her arm out. The bubbles are just a breath away from brushing against Dove's arm. Then they are not moving too fast. She lets out a sharp hiss and grits her teeth. Get out! I latch my teeth onto the back of Dove's dress and rip her away from the tub. I throw us onto the slippery tiles. Blood splashes all over us. It takes me a moment to catch my breath when my senses slowly return to me. I hear the sound of gurgling. I look to my side. Dove lies next to me, curled in a ball. Her eyes are squeezed shut, her chest rising and falling heavily. Cradled in her red-covered hands is a rib bone. Yeah, I thought so. The buzzing noise that arises this time does not surprise me, but the merciless insistence of it does cause me to pin my ears to my head with a whimper. Ew. So what are we doing? Popping the ribs back to Mother's chest or what? When we once again stand before Hypatia's body, we are covered in much more blood than when we started, yes. Her body has also started acting more like a corpse. Flies crawl over the woman's blotchy skin and the sour smell of rot now invades my nose, making it wrinkle in discomfort. Okay, where is your father? Because I suspect he's going to kill us. Like both of us, you know? I don't think it's a good idea. Bringing the missing ribs feels like it's broken some kind of spell on the body. Like it had been sitting in time's blind spot. And now we are placing it back under its harsh light once again. Perhaps this is why Dove now hesitates. She clutches the rib bones with a white-knuckled grip. I'm slightly worried they will snap into pieces any moment now. Her face is glazed over with a blank mask, but the wariness in her eyes betray her. Okay, wait, so will we have a choice here to let her do whatever she wants to do? But we already took the ribs. If we don't do anything, Mother is going to rot anyway. Won't she? I don't really understand how it's working. Earlier she had been in such a rush to send this person away, but now she seems to be stalled by her own thoughts. When she finally breaks out of her head, she stomps over to a drawer and rummages through it. She produces a needle, a roll of thread, and one more thing of a shelf, a bottle that glows a faint orange. She makes her way over to the body. She makes quick work of placing the ribs back where they belong before plucking out the old broken stitches that held Hypatia's torso together. I guess we won't get a choice then. Her hands had been so rough in tearing the stitching open, but now her trembling fingers work delicately. After disposing of them, she begins to mend the flesh together. Her stitching is clumsy, a trait she shares with her mother, I suppose. When she's finished, she takes a step back. This ghost is so different from the others. It's not, this is a real body, puppy. The ghost is on the hallways. It feels like whatever happens next will be the point of no return. The final stop of this train is approaching, and the only way of this ride is to jump before it crashes. Great, thank you. Dove holds up the glowing bottle she had grabbed earlier. Liquid fire? It can melt through anything. We don't have to risk burning the house down again. My chest tightens. This is it. Dove places a hand on the corpse's arm, then tears her from the alcove. Oh my god. But we put the ribs back in. Okay, but if we melt the body, Father will be super duper upset. He just wants his wife back and your mother. I think was your mother a good person? Like, you said good things about her. You said that she wanted you to be the greatest witch of this family. Like, should we burn her now? Father would kill us. Like, he would totally kill us. The corpse crumbles to a heap on the floor. I won't be making the mistake of thinking this body could simply wake up and continue living anymore. Yes. It decays rapidly before my very eyes, like it's overly eager to correct itself to the rightful stage of necrosis. Hypatia's pale skin darkens in patches to a death green. Veiny lines start to marble across her cheeks, and an oily sheen begins to develop, along with a foul smell that has me breathing shallowly. I flinch from the sound of Dove popping the cork out from the bottle. Panic surges through me. I don't feel ready at all. The corpse, we put the ribs back in and it started to decompose already, so... But I keep finding out that there are not many changes that wait for you to be before they become your new reality. The corpse's flesh begins to dissolve from the pouring liquid. It sizzles and hisses as it easily eats through flesh all the way through to the bone. She covers the body thoroughly with the honey-like substance until the last drop falls from the bottle's mouth. I lift my gaze from the corpse. It lands on the hallway ghost standing in the room with us. Oh, mother. Hi, what up? Hi. Hi, what's the matter? Why, hi. Hi. I've never seen it enter a room before. But now it turns its neck, looking around the room as if in search for something. Dove drops the bottle in her hand when she sees her, and it cracks on the floor. She rips her gaze away and looks down at the disintegrating corpse. You will finally be gone now. I can see Dove's eyes turn glossy. You will be gone. Her head snaps back to the ghost. The ghost looks down at its fading hands. Its lifeless gaze finds Dove and turns to her with its arms spread, ready to pull her into a loving embrace. I don't know. All the other ghosts were like not themselves, and one of them even harmed you. So how long were your mother dead exactly? Oh, that's not pretty at all. I don't really like it now. Whatever emotions Dove has been bottling up instantly shattered like glass. My mind feels foggy as I watch Dove break into a sob. I move before she does. Dove chokes in a gasp when I stop her from running to the ghost. What are you doing? Let go. I tighten the grip of my jaws around her skirt even more. I whimper my own cry towards her. I understand. I've done something like this before. When the world was so big and I was so small, everything terrified me. When I was overwhelmed with emotions and didn't understand a thing, I would always run into the arms of my mother too. Aww! Let go! No. I don't think this is a good idea. I know what will happen the second the ghost's phantom arms wrap around her living body. I don't think my heart will be able to take it if I have to hear Dove scream in pain again. Oh, they can't. Oh, I thought, the lady that I don't know the name of with the many arms had some like special power thingy. That's why she was burning Dove. But it's like no ghost can touch a living body because they will burn it. Soul or body, she can never reach for either again without getting burned. I wish Dove wasn't constantly reminded of what it feels like to be paid. It's like everyone that loves Dove cannot show it if it's not in the form of a stinging lash. Is this how it has to be? Oh, but she's pretty. Oh, we can see the footsies. Well, I thought it's not a good idea because maybe she would want to harm her as well, but it's not like she wants to harm her. It's just a thing that happens, even if you don't want it to happen. Dove drops to her knees and cries. I don't care if she hates me for stopping her. Perhaps she truly prefers to say goodbye as her flesh sears, but I won't let her. What was it like when she first lost her? Is this her first or second farewell? Dove must have so much to say, but time races against her. I think if Hypatia's life were an hourglass, it would be down to a single grain of sand. One tiny moment is all that has been spared for Dove to say a lifetime's worth of words. The ghost fades more and more. I wait for the sound that will signal the end. The sound of that final grain falling. Dove sniffles and presses her forehead into the cool floorboards. In another life. Can you still be my mother? Oh, poor baby. Poor baby. Oh. My breath hitches. Next time. She wipes the thick tears that drip down to her chin. It would be nice if we could be human. Oh. Well, you are a human technically, and your mother was a human technically, so. But then maybe I could be enough for you. What do you mean? She was the only one in the family who encouraged you, wasn't she? Am I not understanding something? And you could be enough as well. You wasn't enough for who? Daddy? Yourself? Dove lifts her head. Something that looks like a smile cracks through the ghost's features. The ghost's face softens in a way that looks proud of Dove, and confusingly, Dove reacts like she's been slapped across the face. Don't look at me like that. Like this is what you wanted. She clenches her fists. I never asked for this. Dove's scream makes my chest tighten painfully, but for some reason I find my brows pitching together in puzzlement. She never asked for this. What does she mean by that? Then it comes. The last grain finally falls, and falls so heavily. It rings so loudly in my skull that my ears go flat. I don't need to look, I just slide up to Dove's side. I can tell by the way she wraps her arm around me so tightly, and how loudly she sobs into my fur, that the ghost of her mother is gone. For good this time. Hey, sorry for the abrupt end. I decided to chop up the video into 2 separate videos because it ended up being more than 4 hours. and I wasn't really prepared for that. It's really much more than I thought it was gonna be, which is absolutely a good thing because I'm enjoying it very much. But also, it was just too long. So yeah, it is what it is. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this episode as well, and thank you for watching it. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to let YouTube know about it by liking, subscribing, leaving a comment. But no one likes outros, so bye bye!